You are at the top. You have not lost games in a long time. You've beaten Paris Saint-Germain. You've beaten a lot of top teams. You have drawn against Crystal Palace. And that is where Enzo Maresca, that is where Enzo Maresca showed me that he's a brilliant manager. And I'll tell you exactly what Enzo Maresca did in that game. See, I told you that in the game against Crystal Palace, what Crystal Palace did was that they pressed in a 5-3, a 5-2-3. It wasn't a 5-3-2, a 5-2-3. That was the press that Crystal Palace came into the game with. Now, what Enzo Maresca did, immediately Chelsea got a foothold of the game and then considered that first goal was that what he did was that he asked Moises Caicedo to drop back as part of the back four. So if you look at that Crystal Palace 5-2-3, that pivot, it was Crystal Palace in that block, and then the front three pressing Chelsea's front three. So it prevented Chelsea from playing up from the back, blocking passingly. In fact, the middle of the pitch was very, very constricted. So what Enzo Maresca did was that he switched that. And then if you look at the game, as early as the first half of the game, Chelsea have Caicedo as part of the back four. So Caicedo now drops to play as centre back to Moises Caicedo, to the extent that now they don't know who to press again. Now, West Ham United had to change from that 5-2-3 block and then press with a 2 up top, meaning that Chelsea were very comfortable to have players in wide areas and then to build up from there. And Estevao was in the right half space area. And I think that was brilliant. Caicedo was interchanging with Marco Correa in the build-up phase, and Chelsea had lots of bodies around it, essentially overloading West Ham United's first line in terms of the press. And that was brilliant from Enzo Maresca. And again, this is where coaches like Enzo Maresca earn their big bucks. If you ask yourself, where do coaches like Maresca earn their big bucks in this place like this? This is where they earn their big bucks. This is where coaches like Maresca get all the respect that they deserve. This is where coaches like Maresca get all the applause that he gets. When it gets tough, when you have to tweak something, he stays on the touchline and then calls Moises Caicedo to come, pushes Moises Caicedo into that area, and then says that we overload them in the first line, and then we distort their press. In distorting their press, we will get openings. Like, see, when Chelsea distorted that press of West Ham United, it allowed them to penetrate West Ham better. It allowed them to hold on to the ball better. It allowed them to gain some confidence because now they were having the ball, they were getting answers to the questions that West Ham United were asking them. The big one was the fact that, again, see, you look through the Chelsea team and you can clearly see that this is a team that has improved on all merits. One of the things that's made Chelsea improve very well is the fact that you look at that set piece play all across the Club World Cup